Hi everyone, it's Melinda. I've been posting these mineral videos about once a day, but it's been a while since I've filmed one. I'm extra excited about this one, Red Quartz, not only because it's gorgeous, but because we do have it here quite plentifully in Ontario. There are certain areas where I found it more plentiful, my hometown of Sudbury, Ontario, as well as the old Eldorado, Ontario, where there are copper and gold mines. Those areas were definitely full of it, but you can find red stained quartz all over Ontario. We're pretty lucky with our, you know, metals in this province. So red quartz is a type of quartz which, as you know, is silicon dioxide, and it contains an iron oxide, like a layer or inclusions, and in this case, in the red case, it's usually in the form of hematite. And the resulting color tones can range from dark brick red to a red orange, and it can also be seen as dark as maroon, burgundy, brown, and we're going to see a variety of those types of shades today in my collection. And we'll also see one that's kind of verging more on a tangerine quartz, which is still an iron oxide included quartz, but just tends to be more on the yellowy orangey side rather than the red orange side. And this is just kind of like a silly distinction, I suppose, but not as heavily saturated in the hematite, which is what we kind of consider or nickname red quartz. So I think I'm going to start by showing you the slightly more impressive ones that were purchased. The seller said this one was from Morocco. Isn't that gorgeous? It was a steal of a deal, too. It was the last few hours of a gem show, and sometimes at gem shows, if you're there at the very end, you get lucky and they start putting things on sale. Isn't that just gorgeous? So like I said, it's quartz with a hematite coating. That's what the red color is. And it can be seen crystallized in masses, nodules, clusters, druzy, as well as inclusions within existing quartz. So most of this type of crystal comes from Brazil or Madagascar, typically. But it is really abundant. It literally just is an iron oxide on regular quartz. This one's really beautiful. Go, this is a palm stone. It was purchased in Taiwan. So red quartz is also known as hematoid quartz. It's probably a more accurate mineral name for it, as well as, and I'm going to butcher this, sorry, ferruginous or ferruginous quartz. And then nicknames follow like strawberry quartz, and like I said, sometimes even tangerine quartz is used when it's red like this. Although that's usually a name that refers to like a lighter colored iron inclusion, more of a yellow-orange, rather than like the obviously red hematite type inclusion. So this one was labeled as Tangerine Quartz. It was purchased in the UK. So this one's much lighter, could be considered tangerine quartz without a problem, but it red is a little more of like a rustier red, so I thought I'd include it in this video. There we go. This one wasn't purchased, but I'm not sure of the exact location. I believe it's somewhere here in Ontario. Here's this little tiny quartz druzy or quartz cluster with the red hematite staining. Very vibrant on the back of the stone. See if we can get closer. Okay. I'll start with some now from Sudbury, Ontario, where I was born and raised. Here we go. So quartz is the second most abundant mineral on Earth, and hematite is found throughout every country. However, when hematite is found within the quartz and it forms like red phantom layers, that's considered more of a rare kind of occurrence. So like I said, you can find red quartz like this all over the place, almost everywhere, but really beautiful inclusions, similar to like this one and this one, tend to be a little bit more uncommon. Here's a little smaller one from Sudbury. It has a very similar look to it, even though it's from a different location than the first one. Another one from the Sudbury area is this chunk of quartz with that red iron oxide, but it also has chalcopyrite inclusions on it as well. That's that kind of goldish stuff that you can see on top. This one is more of just like a solid layer here on top of the quartz. See if we can get close to the pyrite. There you go. I say pyrite, but I believe it's chalcopyrite based on the location. So the rest of my specimens are from a special location here in Ontario that has unfortunately been sold and is no longer accessible to the public, but it held, well, still holds, hopefully nothing's been done to the mine, I'm sure not, but it holds Ontario's very first gold mine as well as a copper mine right nearby. And they're quite historic. There are still foundations of the buildings and such. It's really just an amazing property. I think a lot of us here in the community are incredibly sad that we can no longer go visit it. It really is a special place. So when you start off your journey, kind of before heading deep into the property, you can find quartz such as this. And this is more of a redder brown. So the hard rock has a thin layer of, like I said, iron oxide, and it's caused by a chemical weathering of the natural minerals that are found in the rock or in the area surrounding the rock. So the concentration can appear as a dense dusting or a stain on the outside, or even like colorful inclusions on the inside of the crystal within some cracks. It's really too bad that we can't go there anymore. Like, you can actually go into the mine and everything. It was just truly a spectacular place. I'm extremely glad that I got at least one chance to see that mine and that property and collect some pieces from it. Very, very lucky. And I really treasure my specimens. Like I said, I was so excited to make this video. This one's almost more like trying to be a jersey of some sort, as well as this piece here. There we go. There you go, you can see the little crystals. There we go. Very pretty. Okay. So also on the property were kind of lightly stained as well in a different part of the property. See, these are more just like a little bit of pinkish. And see, this is more of what would be called like a tangerine quartz, that yellowy orange, rather than the red. There's some red there too, though. Looks like a piece of possibly pyrite in there. Cool. So you've probably heard of hematite associated with quartz before, but there is a distinction between other types of hematite quartz. So if you see hematite dots, drips, phantoms, or overall color change within the crystal, if they are indeed inside the crystal, then that's often labeled harlequin quartz or fire quartz, and tends to be a little bit more pricey and special than just these kind of outer layers. So a recent find on that property is actually in the old, I guess, ghost town of Eldorado, Ontario. And I still use that old name just out of respect for those miners and the mines that are there. I like to stick with Eldorado. So I showed you these ones over here, some over here as well. Now I'm going to show you an exciting, more recent find, just found a couple of years before the mine was closed off to the public. And they are beautiful clusters of hematite included quartz. Here we go. My largest one. It's a little bit rougher than some of my others, but how cool is that? Isn't that something? I'm so glad I got some of these. That was a real special treat for sure. And we were quite deep in the property at this point, very deep in the property, far away from any of the existing mines or trenches or original kind of diggings of the mine. Just on a little bit of a hillside, and these were there. This is my favorite one here. And you'll probably tell that not very many of these crystals are terminated. They're kind of stubby, but this one on the inside seems to be like it terminated, so. And the structure's just nice. I just love this one. Crystals go all the way around. Yeah, this one is my prized one. I love it. There you go. Okay, so now I'll show you some more while I talk a little bit more about things. So, like I said, red quartz is similar to tangerine quartz, and they're often, used interchangeably, although most people like to be specific when they say tangerine quartz is more of like a yellow-orange quartz rather than red. And red quartz, its coating consists of a more finely divided hematite, and that's why it produces that redder color, because they are both technically just iron oxide. There we go. A little terminated one in there. So if we get deep into the science, hematite is iron 3 oxide or ferric oxide, which is why it's sometimes named ferruginous quartz or ferruginous quartz. Sorry about that, I'm not good at that word. And it's an inorganic compound with the formula Fe2O3. Fe2O3. And it is one of the 3 main oxides of iron. So there's 3 types of iron oxide. The other 2 are iron 2 oxide, FeO, and this is quite rare, apparently. And then there's iron 2,3 oxide, which is Fe3O4, and that also occurs naturally as the mineral magnetite. So iron 3 oxide, the hematite oxide that we're looking at today, is often called rust. You'll probably hear that. And to some extent, that label is actually kind of useful because rust shares several properties and has a similar composition to rust. So to a chemist, rust is considered an ill-defined material described as hydrated ferric oxide. So it is still a ferric oxide. Just a few smaller ones now. Little single crystal that was terminating. This one's more yellow, so it'd probably be more of a tangerine quartz. This one too has a lot of yellow on it. Now, this one's very little, but the crystals turned out transparent in this one. And you can tell the other ones. There are some transparent spots, certainly, but they're mostly white. Whereas this one, it's got a little point too. It's quite translucent. It's lovely. There we go. So before I pack up, I also wanted to mention that a lot of red quartz sold on the market is actually normal quartz that's been heated or dyed. And I've got to say, I have my suspicions about this one. The coating is, very even all over and in the cracks. I don't know, I'm an artist as well, so it just kind of reminds me more of paint. And this has obviously been broken off of the matrix, and you can see that the iron or dye is underneath as well. And that's kind of, I don't know, I suppose it's possible, but I don't know. If it were natural, I feel like the iron oxide would have went all over the crystals, certainly in the cracks, but then when they broke it off, I don't think you'd see this all over kind of, I don't know, painted look, dyed look. So it's quite possible that this one isn't authentically tangerine quartz, like a natural version. That's just something to be aware of. I still love my piece, it's still certainly real quartz, and I'm not concerned, about that. I still love it, even if it has been treated in some way. But it's just good to know that certain things are often faked on the market, or enhanced, let's say. Yeah. Nothing wrong with having knowledge at our fingertips, that's for sure. Alright everyone, that's my red quartz collection. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time, guys. Bye!